yeah, so we drove on down to the mall and same thing. We went in. I don't even remember where we shopped in the mall. Honestly, I think we probably went to like J.C. Penney's or something.
Yeah, we were walking around and yeah, probably JC Penney's and
I feel like in the mall we got some looks.
we did. We got some like as you're passing by people, some
Mm-hmm.
yeah, and then the first time I was all nervous about it, and then the times later,
Mm-hmm.
you know, future times that we would go out, I feel like now it's more amusing than anything else. To
Yeah.
like how many number one, how many people are gonna clock you
Mm-hmm.
slash us, and what are the reactions and
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think some of those people only notice us because they see two women holding hands, and some of us, or some of them, I think probably the people that get closer are probably the people that are like, wait, do a double take.
Today we went to a local shopping center,
Mm-hmm.
and I remember seeing a young girl, probably no older than 15, who was clocking us, and she kept staring at our hands. I think in large part because we were two women. I don't know that she necessarily noticed that
Yeah.
you were not a cis woman,
Mm-hmm.
but if she had, it was just amusing and interesting to see her.
Yeah, I think for the most part, it seems to be like in general, people will look at you like two women holding hands, right? But I think it's not to be like stereotypical or generalized, but it's mostly men who will like give you the double take.
Yeah,
For me, right?
yeah.
They're the ones
They
that
might
tend
be
to
more.
scrutinize.
They might also be more overt about it.
Yeah, maybe that's what it is.
And women are very good at like cis women are very good at kind of being a little bit closer to the vest of thinking and observing and maybe like but doing it without being observable that they're observing
Except that one.
except that one.
Except that one at the Olive Garden in the bathroom.
Oh, you want to tell that story?
Yeah, so it was like we were getting ready to leave the restaurant, right? And this was what 2 weeks ago now.
Yeah.
This was recent, um, and I think I had just finished washing my hands, and you were coming to wash your hands, and so I like moved out of the way because there was only two sinks, and so I'm standing like at the door, and you're washing your hands, and then another woman is in there, and she comes to wash her hands, and I'm not like really paying all that much attention. I'm just sort of standing there waiting. And then I realized that she's staring at me, but she's not staring at me. She's looking at me through the reflection in the mirror. But she's not looking here. She's also not looking here. She's looking further down. I think I was wearing pants that day.
Yeah.
Yeah, shorts.
It might have been shorts.
I think I was wearing shorts.
Jeans shorts.
And so I think she was trying to figure out just what sort of equipment I was carrying, I guess you could say. And I don't really know how long she was staring at me. All I know is like once I realized she was staring at me, I was staring at her, and then she like her eyes came up and locked with mine, and I'm
Through
sure
the mirror.
and I'm sure she was mortified that she got busted. She didn't say anything. I think I smiled politely, right? And then you were done washing your hands anyway, so we walked out, and then I think once we were outside, I laughed and told you all about it, and we had a good laugh. But again, no pitchfork mobs came running out of there. What were you doing in the women's restroom or anything like that? I think, yeah, the worst we've gotten is like weird looks and maybe some laughs.
You think people have laughed?
Well, I think didn't we have some people when we went to the casino? I think some people we had to like shuffle our way out of there because there were some. Of course, this was also like outside of our norm, right? It was late at night, and we were in a bar in the casino, right? It was us and our friends. And I remember somebody saw.
And bowling alley. We're like.
Well,
bowling alley.
yeah, it was like
pool table.
Right, so we were playing pool.
Restaurant-ish place.
We were playing pool, and some guys came in, and we're at the next table over, right? And I think one of our friends noticed that they were paying awfully close attention to us and talking amongst themselves, and so she decided it was time for us to leave, right? So we all shuffled out of there, and So
And I think that was the right call.
I definitely think it was the right call, and I think that speaks to our rule of like don't go somewhere alone, right? Make sure you have people with you that are gonna watch out for you, right? And that you watch out for them and they watch out for you. And it's it's unfortunate that we live in that world where you have to watch out for each other, but it is what it is until we figure out how to fix the problem, I guess. We got a lot of work to do there, but yeah. So I guess that would be the closest to like an actual bad situation that we've seen. Um, but again, even we've stopped and talked to people, and nobody's so much as like,
Yeah, if I,
wait,
if I see like a little dog, I have to go to it.
It's always the little dogs.
Drawn to little puppies, and I must pet them. And so, Amelia and I go to the dogs, and I'll chat up the owner as I'm petting the dog and falling in love with the doggy. And yeah, I haven't noticed them.
No, and I mean, like I will say, it's harder for me to talk to men in public because, like, again, not to be stereotypical or anything, but those are the people where I assume threats will come from. It's from men, right? Men who just they might not understand, or they might, I don't know, somehow feel threatened in some way and feel like they need to react.
Well, also you're kind of you're switching out. You're kind of negating, or maybe in their mind denying, like wanting to be a man. So maybe that's threatening.
Right.
But for women, if you are, biologically a man, but you're trying to represent as a female, on some level, for cis women, it might be, complimentary, like, oh, girl power type thing. And also, just women are, more in touch with their feelings and might be like, oh, that must be really nerve-wracking for you, and the desire to be supportive might be more immediate.
Yeah, so I mean, generally I get a warmer reception from women, I would say. Which is not to say I haven't gotten like the cold shoulder or two from women too, but
do you feel like you've gotten cold shoulders from women too?
I definitely feel like we had one like cashier at a store or something that once I was speaking to her, she understood like what was going on, and then I think she became very interested in ending the interaction as quickly as possible. Whereas, it had been like, hello, how are you? Did you find everything all right? And then once, I was like, yes, I did. I'd like to buy these things. Then it became, okay, yep. Like the answers, there was a shift to one word, how can I get you out of here as quick as possible? And so.
Was that early on? You don't say the store name. We don't want to.
Right. I wouldn't say it was like one of the first couple trips. It was definitely, it's been several months. Let's say that. So it's probably like midway point between November and now.
When you came out to Mia now?
Yeah. We'd been out in public several times at that point, I think, and then it was, So, and I mean, people are going to react the way they're going to react, and you just got to sort of be smart and hope that no one's going to react poorly.
At least not, like, dangerously poorly.
Right. And that you're not putting yourself in a situation where you allow that to be a possibility, if at all possible. Double possible. But.
Don't go to a dark alley at night.
Right. I know I hear stories about people that, like, that's how they choose to go out, and I mean...
Their first time to go out at night alone.
And I mean, I can only speak for me, but for me, that's, like, gives me an icky feeling, like, that's... A cis woman wouldn't go out at night like that, so... I feel like it's a bad idea to put yourself in that situation.
When you're in your femme mode, to do something that women would steer clear of, for the most part.
Right. And again, everybody has their own life situations, comfort levels, and maybe 2:00 in the morning is the only time that you can get out, and you have no car, so you really are stuck, like, walking your neighborhood at 2 in the morning. And if that's all you have, then that's what you have to do, but
for all purposes, for all occasions of those who go out in public, safety is number one priority. Because you can't guarantee that all people are as open or welcoming or accepting
Right.
of this community.
Yeah. I mean, I even just like as a man, when we used to, before all of this, right? When we would go downtown where we used to live, downtown after dark was a totally different place. And so if we like went out to dinner and it started getting dark, like my mindset, even as a man, totally shifted, and I was like, threat, 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 everything.
Protect, protect, protect,
Yes,
protect.
we're going, we're beelining back to the car as quick as possible. I want to leave, because again, it's a different reality at night, unfortunately. And depending on where you are, obviously, right? Some places are hopping 24/7, and it's not as much of an issue. But yeah, I guess just look out for yourself and try to be as safe and smart as you can, based on what you can do. Yeah, because like you said, you had some fears and reservations about going out, and those are not unfounded, unfortunately.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, there's a lot of.
So yeah, for couples, please keep that in mind. Please be respectful of, like your girlfriend or your wife.
Yeah.
Um, don't dismiss them. Please don't invalidate them, and be like, "Oh, I'll be fine." Like really understand where they're coming from, and maybe they're coming from a place where, heaven forbid, but maybe they come from experience where they were at the wrong place at the wrong time, and maybe they got taken advantage of.
Yep.
Whether they are robbed, or worse.
Yeah.
And for people who are biologically male, the fact of the matter is, you really don't have to worry about that. But I would be hard pressed to find a cis woman who wouldn't think of, oh, well, maybe I shouldn't do this because I might be taken advantage of, or I better go in a group of girls, or with my family, or what have you, and not go alone, or not go at a certain time of night. So the point is, if your spouse or girlfriend is saying, I'm not comfortable with this, I'm concerned about us, going out in public and running into trouble.
Yeah.
Really soak that in.
Yeah. And I'm just, yeah.
And validate them.
Yep.
Be like, I hear you. And it's another opportunity for discussion of, has anything scary like that happened to you, and it's another bonding, just another conversating opportunity. And also maybe you can start to lean on the partner or the wife. Be like, okay, so what do you suggest? What would you do that you think would be safe?
Right.
So, and then that allows for another opportunity to connect, to communicate, and to plan, and include her in the plan. So again, she's not kind of blindsided and, okay, this is happening, I have no control or part in this. Allow her to be a part of this, because you're making her a part of this this part of your reality. So the cis woman needs to be very much a part in the planning of going out in public.
Yeah. And I mean, like, start small, like, if you need to, right? I mean, yeah, we all right, we're going out into a bookstore and we're going to go to the mall, but it doesn't have to be that, right? I know someone who, their first time out was, let's go through a drive-through. They didn't get out of the car, they didn't even talk to anybody, their wife drove, they literally just sat in the car and got food, but, milkshakes, I think is what it was.
Oh,
but
delicious.
But yeah, they didn't say anything, but they were out of the house, right?
Yeah.
It was a baby step.
And also, maybe a baby step, but also at the same time, a huge step.
Right. Yeah, not to discredit that at all.
Right, not to belittle.
It's still huge.
Absolutely.
Even for us, if on our bookstore trip, we had gotten out of the house, we'd driven to the store, we sat in the parking lot, and then I was like, can't get out of the car, and we'd come home. Still, I left the house, right? So we could have taken that, and then the next time maybe we get out of the car and then get back in the car and go home, right? And then maybe the next time we go to the door and then get back in the car and go home.
Right.
However many steps you need and however small they have to be for you and for your partner, your spouse, or your wife, or that there's not really a wrong way to do it as long as you're being safe and you're considering like both sides.
Absolutely. Timing is great too.
Timing is good.
Morning, late morning, early afternoon, depending on what time of year is it. Like if it stays lighter, later, like in the summertime, then
Yeah.
you can stay out a little bit later.
Mhm.
Yeah, no.
Yeah. And then to tangent again a little bit.
Tangent alert.
Yes.
Tangent alert. 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 Tangent alert.
Is that gonna be a regular thing now?
Maybe.
Maybe. I was just thinking back to as we were talking about like being out in public as a woman versus being out in public as a man. I can sort of say that I have experienced like how that feels different because we were, and granted it was middle of the day, right? But we had went and ate at a restaurant, like a bar grill type restaurant, and we were sitting at the bar, and then you had to step away to use the restroom. And granted, we were both in femme mode. I don't know. Was I wearing? I might have been wearing this dress. Actually, I'm not sure.
Oh,
now.
maybe.
I might have been wearing this dress, but you know. So we're sitting at the bar, and then you step away, and it took about 30 seconds, and then I realized I am alone, surrounded by all these people, right? And there's plenty of men around. And it's just, and again, I hate to like keep hating on men, right? But that was like my fear is that there's an empty seat next to me, and I'm a woman sitting at the bar, alone, right? And so some guy was going to come over here and try to hit on me, and that wasn't like so much my fear, like, because again, it's not like I'm just going to get drawn in, but it was more like some guy was going to come hit on me, not realizing what was really going on, and then as soon as I had to speak to turn him down, it's just a possibility that something bad, you could get a negative reaction out of that, right?
I should teach you American Sign Language. I did
So I
that
can
once. Sidebar. Like somebody was trying to like get my attention and they're giving me their willies. I was like, thank you, sorry, I'm deaf. Bye.
And then, yeah, but after that, you're kind of locked in and not talking for the rest of the time. Until you
Oh,
leave that
I did
place.
get. There's another like a week or two. I ran into the same guy when I was with you, and I was in mid sentence, like I was talking to you while the person was like coming our way, and I could tell he was like, "Wait, that's the same girl. She can't talk. She just didn't want to talk to me." And I was like,
Busted.
I was totally busted, but he was giving me the creeps. So girls got to do what a girl's got to do.
And it's no different than like the girl that gives out like the fake phone number, right?
I've done that.
Yeah.
I've also given the fake name, and I gave my sister's name, and I called my sister right after like this guy was trying to hit on me, like, oh, let's go get Irish coffee. And I was like, thanks, no. What's your name? Blue, 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 blue. And then I called my sister. She's like, thanks for using my name. I was like,
Well,
I panicked.
You didn't use her number, did you?
No.
So it's like it could have been anybody, really. Yeah. Now I forgot my train of thought, but just
Oh, you're at the bar and you're worried about being hit on and having to speak, and then them realizing that you were
right.
not a cis woman.
Right, and again, you don't know how people are gonna react to that kind of stuff. Like, are they gonna be like, are they gonna get mad like you tricked them? Which that's not my intent at all, right?
But they may take it personally
But
like that.
they might take it that
Take
way.
offense, be aggressive about it.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, and like you're saying, with like giving out a fake name or fake number, like the only reason you do that, it's not just because you're like, I don't like saying no. It's because you're, I'm sure, on some level worried about
Oh
a
yeah.
hostile reaction to rejection, right? Because nobody
Right.
likes to be rejected.
Right.
And
It's
some
just-
people can just be like, oh man, okay. And some people are like, what? No, you owe me, blah, blah, blah,
Yeah. Yeah. So
Yeah.
you do what you do in the moment that you think is the safest course of action.
So, I mean, it's an unfortunate reality that I hope we can change at some point, where women don't feel like they have to be on guard. And, I think some of that is, legitimate toxic masculinity in the world. And probably a lot
And
of
the
it is
culture that raises boys that they need to not be emotive, they need to not like identify feelings in themselves or others, or the lack of education of and practice of men stepping into being able to step in the shoes of others. And again, that's a gross overgeneralization.
Yeah.
Women do it too. I mean, it's also very human to be in kind of your own bubble, your own space, and have a difficulty of seeing other people's perspective. But unfortunately, there seems to be like a tag along of a lack of education or practice with boys and men to identify emotions and express it and be allowed to express it. Like the unpleasant sad, unpleasant angry is fully acceptable, but or happy. But for women, it's a lot of from the get go to identify emotions and express them and be nurturing of other people and compassionate and talk your feelings out.
Yeah.
It's just the cultural dynamic that systemically should be changed and hopefully will be.
Slowly but surely, but
Yeah.
never fast enough, I don't think.
No.
Yeah, so we pretty much covered all of that, right? I don't think
The
did you-
first days of going out in public.
Mhm. And like how it's like some of it was very exciting and some of it was very like scary and nerve-wracking and like whoa, maybe too fast, right? I'm sure there were days where you're like, can we slow down a little bit, and that's normal, that's natural, right? Like everybody has their own pace, and again,
And
well,
sometimes the pace fluctuates.
Yep.
The comfort level of the day. Again, for me, it's my comfort level fluctuates.
yeah, so it might be like full steam ahead one day, and the next day it's like let's stop.
I need a break.
Let's take a break, right?
take a
Let's
pause.
pause for a day or two, and that's okay, or a week, or whatever it is, right? But the important thing is to like communicate that. Like
This will be a running theme for all the episodes.
communication is huge.
Communication and identify your feelings and express your feelings and validate your feelings.
Yeah.
And your partner's feelings.
To the point where it might sound a little hokey, but it, it really is like it's basically the basic foundation of everything that we have done and we've learned together and about each other and about ourselves has been about like being able to just talk to each other, understand like when the other person's like really happy and when they're not so happy and when they're sad or when they're hurting or
And also learn how to de-escalate the unpleasant feelings.
Yeah, that's a good one too. Like learning.
Like instead of like, let's say, give it a scenario like if I'm kind of having a hard day and my telltale signs are that I'm quiet and that I'm not making eye contact, what one thing that you could have done that you never do is like, why are you being all moody? Why are you being all PMSing? Or
What's the matter with you?
or like putting it on me like something's wrong with me. That would not.
That's not gonna help.
That's not going to be helpful for me. It's going to make me want to be defensive. But like, let's say if I'm like, kind of like having a low time, and what a great thing to do. And you've done this before. It's like you just come on over. You're silent. You just give me a hug, and you just say, "You look like you need a hug." And it wasn't accusatory. It wasn't like, belittling my emotions or invalidating my emotions or calling me out on my emotions. It's just like, hey, you're my person. I love you. I'm acknowledging that you're having a hard time. And I'm going to show you a silent but indisputable way or a sign that I love you and that I'm here for you and I support you. Or you could be like, hey, you're having a hard day. Hey, you want to talk it out? But also not forcing them. Like, when you're ready, like I can tell something's, circling your brain, and when you're ready, I'd love to help you.
Yep.
So when you're ready, just I'm here. Just there are different ways to. I know it sounds obvious, like I know how to communicate with my person, but then you hear so many people who have who break up, or you see a TV show and they're fighting, and maybe that's just part of the drama. But also, I think it's just human nature. People just get in their own heads, and they don't, how to step in the other person's shoes and can help them out and in a way that will de-escalate the issue. Instead, it will be like you're escalating, and then you get to the point where you're fighting over something either significant or silly.
Yep.
which is unnecessary. I personally, and I'm sure other people will disagree, but I feel like there is no need, absolutely no need to yell. I feel like if anything, it's almost like disarming to be able to be coherent and speak your truth calmly and rationally, and to have a conversation that you can work through instead of yelling. I think that's counterintuitive. So maybe check yourself, check your partner, and see what you can do to de-escalate issues to help bridge the gaps and communicate better, more effectively, so that you can have a deeper, stronger relationship.
Yep. I think, is there anything else we want to talk about today?
No, other than for me, it's just a reminder to please, if you have questions,
Yes.
please let us know. If you have any questions that you want us to address in the next episode, maybe other people could benefit from it. Let us know. Um, if you have any like requests or like how how maybe we could do a little bit better in our episodes that are maybe a little bit more engaging. Um, the point is not for us just to yammer on, and then you guys tune out. So we want to make this about you, not about us just having a talk show. Essentially,
Right.
it's about the community and helping the community, and also figuring out ways how you can help us.
Yep. Because I definitely, we both have. We've learned a lot from people in the community that we've met, right? That we've talked to, either online or in person. Or, yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Anything else to add?
Again, just if you have questions or comments, feel free. If you want to talk to me personally, especially cis women, partners, wives, if you're like, I'd like to really talk with the wife or cis woman side of things, you're welcome to do that. I would go through finding_worth through Instagram, and I'd be happy to help any way that I can.
Yep. And likewise, of course, any questions that I can answer, I will as well.
If you have any, again, episode ideas that you want us to cover too.
Yep. It's all good. So, yeah, I guess until next time, we thank you for watching. I totally lost my train of thought again. Yeah, so I guess bye for now.
Bye.